Italy. In the heart of southern Europe lies a country where history, art, and beauty exist every corner. A land shaped by thousands of years of civilization, where ancient ruins stand beside vibrant modern cities, and where every street seems to tell a story. This is Italy, a place where the past and present live side by side. Stretching from the snowy peaks of the Alps in the north to the warm waters of the Mediterranean Sea in the south, Italy is a country of extraordinary contrasts. Towering mountains, rolling countryside, dramatic coastlines, and historic cities create a landscape that has inspired artists, poets, and travelers for centuries. But Italy is more than just beautiful scenery. It is one of the most historical, influential places on earth. More than 2,000 years ago, this land became the center of one of the greatest civilizations in human history, the Roman Empire. From its capital, Rome, Roman emperors ruled territories that stretched across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East, shaping laws, architecture, engineering, and the culture that still influence the world today. Even after the fall of the Roman Empire, Italy remained at the center of global culture. During the 14th and 15th centuries, cities like Florence became the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance, a revolutionary era that transformed arts, science, and human thought. Legendary figures such as Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo create masterpieces that are still admired around the world today. Across Italy, the marks of history can be seen everywhere. The colossal ruins of the Colosseum remind visitors of the power of ancient Rome. The romantic canals of Venice reveal a city unlike any other on earth, and the artistic treasures preserved in museums and cathedrals reflect centuries of creativity and human achievement. Yet, Italy is not only about history and monuments, it is also a country for famous culture, food, and way of life. From fresh pasta and traditional pizza to lively pizzas filled with conversation and music, Italian culture celebrates the simple joys of life. For millions of travelers every year, Italy represents something timeless: beauty, passion, creativity, and tradition. In this documentary, we will journey across this extraordinary country, exploring its most iconic cities, breathtaking landscapes, and rich cultural heritage. From the ancient streets of Rome to the floating canals of Venice and the rolling hills of Tuscany, we will discover why Italy remains one of the most fascinating destinations on earth. Welcome to Italy, a land where history lives, art breathes, and every moment feels like a step through time. Rome, the eternal city. At the very heart of Italy lies a city unlike any other on earth, a place where the story of Western civilization unfolded over thousands of years. This is Rome, often called the Eternal City. For more than 2 millennia, Rome has stood as a symbol of power, culture, and history. Walking through its streets today feels like traveling through time. Ancient ruins stand beside Renaissance churches, and lively modern cafes occupy spaces once filled with emperors, philosophers, and gladiators. Rome's story begins nearly 3,000 years ago. According to legend, the city was founded in 753 BC. Over the centuries, it grew from a small settlement into the center of one of the most powerful empires in history, the Roman Empire. From this city, Roman leaders controlled vast territories stretching across Europe, North Africa, and the parts of the Middle East. The Roman Empire transformed the world in remarkable ways. It built roads that connected continents, developed a system of the law that still influence modern governments, and constructed architectural marvels that continue to amaze visitors today. One of the most famous of these structures is the magnificent Colosseum. Built nearly 2,000 years ago, This enormous stone amphitheater could hold more than 50,000 spectators. Here, crowds gathered to watch dramatic spectacles, including gladiator battles, theatrical performances, and grand public events. Even today, standing before the Colosseum is a powerful experience. Its towering arches and massive walls remind us of the incredible engineering skills of the ancient Romans. Just a short distance away lies another extraordinary historic site, the Roman Forum. In ancient times, this area served as a political, religious, and commercial center of the Roman world. Temples, government buildings, and bustling marketplaces once filled with this place, where citizens gathered to debate laws, celebrate victories, and shape the future of the empire. Nearby stands one of the Rome's most remarkable architectural achievements, the Pantheon. Originally built as a temple dedicated to the Roman gods, the Pantheon is famous for its massive dome, which remains one of the greatest feats of the ancient engineering. At the center of the dome is a circular opening known as the oculus, allowing sunlight to pour into the vast interior. Despite being nearly 2,000 years old, the Pantheon remains one of the best preserved buildings from ancient Rome. Yet, Rome is not just a city of ruins. Over the centuries, it continued to evolve, becoming a center of art, religion, and culture. Grand pizzas, beautiful fountains, and magnificent churches were built during the Renaissance and the Baroque periods, giving Rome its unique blend of ancient and modern beauty. Today, millions of visitors travel to Rome every year to experience its history and atmosphere. They stroll through narrow cobblestone streets, toss coins into famous fountains, and watch the golden sunset illuminate ancient monuments. In Rome, history is not hidden in museums. It surrounds you everywhere. Every corner of the city holds echoes of the past. And as the journey across Italy continues, Rome reminds us that this country is more than just a destination. It is a living story, one that began thousands of years ago and continues to unfold today. Vatican City, the heart of Catholicism. Within the city of Rome lies one of the most unique places in the world. An independent country smaller than many city parks, yet filled with immense spiritual and cultural influence. This is Vatican City, the center of Roman Cathedral Church and one of the most charged places for millions of believers around the world. Despite covering less than half a square kilometers, Vatican City hosts some of the greatest artistic and architectural treasures ever created. Every year, millions of visitors travel here, not only for religious reasons, but also to witness masterpieces that shape the history of human creativity. The heart of Vatican City is the magnificent St. Peter's Basilica. Rising above the skyline with its enormous dome, this church is one of the largest and most impressive religious buildings ever constructed. The basilica stands on what is traditionally believed to be the burial site of Saint Peter, one of the appointees of Jesus and the first pope of the Catholic Church. Inside the basilica, visitors are surrounded by marble columns, golden decorations, and breathtaking sculptures. One of the most famous works inside the Pieta, a moving sculpture created by the legendary Renaissance artist Michelangelo, where he was only in his early 20s. Just steps away from the basilica lies another treasure of the Renaissance world, the extraordinary Sistine Chapel. At the first glance, the chapel appears so simple from the outside, but inside, it contains one of the most celebrated works of art in history. Covering the ceiling of the chapel are the breathtaking frescoes painted by Michelangelo between 1508 and 1512. These paintings illustrate scenes from the Bible, including the famous image of God reaching out to touch the hand of Adam, a moment that has become one of the most recognizable images in Western art. The Sistine Chapel also holds a great significance in Catholic world. It is here that cardinals gather in secrecy to elect a new pope, a process that has taken place for centuries. Beyond these famous landmarks, Vatican City also houses the vast Vatican museums. Inside these museums are thousands of years of artistic achievement, ancient sculptures, resonance painting, tape strikes, and artifacts collected by popes throughout the history. Walking through the halls of the Vatican Museum feels like traveling through the timeline of human civilization. Although Vatican City is the smallest country on earth, its influences stretches across the globe. As a spiritual center for more than 1 billion Catholics, it represents faith, tradition, and centuries of cultural heritage. For visitors exploring Italy, the Vatican offers something truly extraordinary, a place where religion, art, and history come together in one unforgettable setting. Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance. In the heart of central Italy lies a country that changed the course of human history. Surrounded by the rolling hills of Tuscany, the beautiful city of Florence is widely known as the birthplace of the Italian Renaissance, a period that transformed art, science, philosophy, and culture across Europe. During the Middle Age, Florence was already an important center of trade and banking. Wealthy families helped turn the city into a hub of creativity and intellectual discovery. Among them, the powerful Medici family became famous for supporting artists, architects, and scholars whose ideas would shape the modern world. It was here, in Florence, that some of the history's greatest minds lived and worked. One of the most brilliant figures of the Renaissance was Leonardo da Vinci, a man whose talents ranged from painting and engineering to anatomy and invention. His curiosity and imagination symbolized the spirit of Renaissance, a belief that human creativity and knowledge could reach limitless heights. Another legendary artist connected to Florence was Michelangelo, whose masterpieces continue to inspire all centuries later. His sculptures and paintings captured the beauty and complexity of the human form with extraordinary realism and emotion. Florence also played an important role in literature. The famous poet Dante Alighieri was born here in the 5th century. His epic work, The Divine Comedy, remains one of the most influential pieces of literature ever written. Today, Florence feels like an open-air museum where nearly every building reflects centuries of artistic achievement. Dominating the city skyline is the magnificent Florence Cathedral, also known as the Duomo. Its massive red dome, engineered by Filippo Brunelleschi in the 15th century, was an extraordinary architectural achievement and remains one of the most recognizable landmarks in Italy. Nearby stands the historic Piazza della Signoria, a square filled with statues and surrounded by grand Renaissance buildings. For centuries, this plaza served as the political center of Florence and gathering a place for citizens. Art lovers from around the world also visit the famous Uffizi Gallery. Inside this museum, priceless works by Renaissance masters, including Botticelli, Leonardo da Vinci, and Michelangelo. These paintings and sculptures represent one of the greatest collections of Renaissance art of the earth. Walking through Florence today, visitors encounter narrow medieval streets, elegant bridges, and charming squares filled with life. Street musicians perform beneath ancient walls, while cafes and restaurants invite travelers to pause and enjoy simple pleasure of Italian culture. Despite its small size, Florence has had an enormous influence on world history. The idea born here helped inspire a cultural awakening that spread across Europe and eventually shaped the modern world. In Florence, the Renaissance is not just a chapter in history, it is the living legacy that continues to inspire creativity, beauty, and human imagination. Venice, the floating city, in northeastern Italy, lies one of the most unusual ancient city in the world, built across a network of small islands surrounded by water. The historic city of Venice appears almost like a dream rising from the sea. Unlike most cities, Venice has no roads or for cars. Instead, the city is built on more than 100 small islands connected by hundreds of bridges and narrow walkways. Flowing between these islands are canals that serve as the city's main transportation routes. Boats, water taxis, and traditional gondolas glide across the water, creating one of the most romantic landscapes on Earth. The history of Venice dates back more than 1,015 years ago. 1,500 years ago, during the early Middle Ages, people fled to the islands of the Venetian lagoon to escape invading armies of the mainland. Over time, these small settlements grew into a powerful maritime republic known as the Republic of Venice. For centuries, Venice became one of the wealthiest and most influential trading centers in Europe. Its merchants traveled across the Mediterranean and beyond, connecting Europe with the cultures of Asia and the Middle East. Exotic goods, spices, silk, and precious materials flowed through Venetian markets, bringing enormous wealth to the city. This prosperity allowed Venice to build magnificent palaces, churches, and public squares. At the heart of the city stands a stunning street-marked square, often described as the most beautiful square in Europe. Surrounded by elegant buildings and lively cafes, the squares has been the center of Venetian life for centuries. Overlooking the square is the magnificent street-marked basilica, famous for its golden mosaic and distinctive domes. Built in the Byzantine style, the basilica reflects the Venice history on connections with the Eastern world. Nearby stands another iconic landmark, the George Palace. This grand building once served as the political center of the Venetian Republic and the residence of the Doge, the city's elected ruler. Today, it remains one of the most expensive examples of Gothic and architecture in Europe. Perhaps the most famous waterway in Venice is the beautiful Grand Canal. Shaped like a giant S, this canal winds through the city, lined with elegant places that reflect centuries of wealth and artistic achievement. Traveling along the Grand Canal by boat reveals Venice and its most magical. But Venice is more than just historic buildings and canals. The city has long been a center of art, culture, and celebration. One of its most famous traditions is the spectacular Venice Carnival, where elaborate masks and costumes transform the city into a grand stage of color and mystery. Today, Venice remains one of the most unique cities in the world. Its fragile beauty and attracts millions of visitors each year, all drawn by its romantic atmosphere and timeless charm. Floating between water and sky, Venice reminds us that some cities are not simply places to visit. They are experiences that stay in the heart of forever. Florence, the birthplace of the Renaissance. In the heart of Italy lies a city that changed the course of human history. Surrounded by the gentle hills of Tuscany, the magnificent city of Florence is widely known as the birthplace of the Renaissance, a cultural revolution that reshaped art, science, literature, and philosophy across Europe. During the late Middle Ages, Florence was already a prosperous city driven by trade, banking, and skilled craftsmanship. Wealthy families, especially the powerful Medici family, played a crucial role in supporting artists, architects, and scholars. Through their patronage, the Florence became a center of creativity and innovation unlike any of the other places in Europe. The Renaissance, meaning rebirth, was a period when people rediscovered the ideas of ancient Greece and Rome. Artists began to focus on realism, perspective, and the beauty of the human form. Florence became the workshop where many of the greatest masterpieces in Western art were created. One of the most famous landmarks in the city is the breathtaking Florence Cathedral, also known as the Duomo. Its enormous red dome, designed by the brilliant architect Filippo Brunelleschi, was an engineering marvel of its time. Even today, centuries later, the dome remains one of the most recognizable symbols of Florence. Not far from the cathedral stands an elegant Ponte Vertical, the oldest bridge of the city, lined with small jewelry shops that appear to hang above the river. The bridge crosses the gentle waters of the Arno River. For centuries, it has connected the two sides of Florence while offering one of the most romantic views of the city. Florence is also home to some of the most important artworks in the world. Inside the renowned Uffizi Gallery, visitors can admire masterpieces created by legendary artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Sandro Botticelli. Among the city's most celebrated sculptures is Michelangelo's famous statue of David, carved from a single block of marble. This masterpiece represents the biblical hero David and symbolizes human strength, courage, and perfection. Beyond its art and architecture, Florence remains a vibrant cultural city. Its narrow medieval streets are filled with cafes, markets, and workshops where traditional crafts have been practiced for generations. Visitors can experience authentic Tuscan cuisine, local wines, and a relaxed atmosphere that reflects the timeless spirit of the region. Walking through Florence is like stepping into an open-air museum. Every street corner reveals a piece of history, a sculpture, a church, or a building that has stood for centuries. More than just a beautiful city, Florence represents a turning point in human civilization. It was here that creativity, knowledge, and imagination flourished, giving birth to a new vision of the world. And even today, Florence continues to inspire travelers, artists, and dreamers who come seeking the beauty and the brilliance of the Renaissance. Rome, the eternal city. Few cities in the world carry as much history as the magnificent city of Rome. Known as the Eternal City, Rome has stood the center of Western civilization for more than 2,000 years. Empires have risen and fallen within its walls, yet the spirit of the city continues to live on through its monuments, traditions, and culture. According to ancient legend, Rome was founded in 753 BC by the twin brothers Romulus and Remus. Raised by a she-wolf, the twins became symbols of courage and destiny in Roman mythology. Where the legend or history, the story reflects the powerful identity that Rome has carried throughout the centuries. During its golden age, Rome was the capital of the vast Roman Empire, one of the most influential civilizations in human history. At its height, the empire stretched across Europe, North Africa, and parts of the Middle East, connecting cultures through roads, trades, and law. One of the most iconic monuments from this era is the legendary Colosseum. Completed in the 80 AD, this enormous stone amphitheater could hold more than 50,000 spectators. Crowds gathered to watch gladiator battles, dramatic performances, and grand public spectacles. Today, the Colosseum remains one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world and a powerful reminder of Rome's imperial past. Another remarkable structure is the magnificent Pantheon. The magnificent Pantheon, built nearly 2,000 years ago, Pantheon still stands with its perfectly preserved dome. At the center of the dome is a circular opening known as the oculus, allowing sunlight to pour into the temple and its interior in a dramatic display of light and shadow. But Rome is not only a city of ancient ruins, it is also home to the spiritual heart of the Catholic world. Within the city lies the independent state of Vatican City. Here stands the magnificent St. Bart's Basilica, one of the largest and most beautiful churches ever built. Inside the Vatican are the world-famous Sistine Chapel, where the breathtaking ceiling was painted by the legendary artist Michelangelo. His masterpiece, depicting scenes from the Bible, is considered one of the greatest achievements in the history of art. Beyond its grand monuments, Rome is a city full of everyday life and charm. A narrow cobblestone streets lead to lively pizzas, where locals gathered at cafes, fountains flow with crystal clear water, and the aroma of fresh Italian cuisines fills the air. Visitors often toss coins into the famous Trevi fountain, following the tradition that promises a future return to the city. Walking through the Rome feels like traveling through time. Ancient ruins stand beside Renaissance palaces and modern streets, creating a unique blend of past and present. More than just a historic destination, Rome represents the enduring legacy of human civilization. Its monuments tell the story of empires, faith, art, and culture that have shaped the world we know today. And as the sun sets over the golden rooftops of the eternal city, Rome continues to remind the world why it has inspired travelers for centuries. Italian cuisine, a global culinary legacy. Few cultures in the world are as deeply connected to food as the people of Italy. Italian cuisine is not just about eating, it is about tradition, family, and the joy of sharing meals together. From simple village kitchens to world-class restaurants, food in Italy reflects centuries of culture, regional diversity, and the passion. Italian cooking is known for one simple philosophy: high-quality ingredients prepared with care. Fresh vegetables, olive oil, herbs, cheeses, and handmade pasta form the foundation of countless beloved dishes. Rather than complicate techniques, Italian cuisine celebrates natural flavors and tradition recipes passed down through generations. Among the most famous Italian foods is the beloved pizza. Originating in the city of Naples, pizza began a simple meal for working people. The classic version, known as the Margherita pizza, combines tomato sauce, fresh mozzarella cheese, basils, and olive oil. Its colors, red, white, and green, represent the Italian flag. Another essential symbol of Italian cuisine is pasta. Across Italy, hundreds of different pasta shapes are prepared with unique sauces depending on the region. In the north, creamy sauces and butter are common, while southern regions often use tomatoes, garlic, and olive oil. One of the most famous pasta dishes in the world is spaghetti carbonara, a Roman specialty made with eggs, cheese, pancetta, and black pepper. Despite its simplicity, the dish perfectly demonstrates the Italian ability to transform basic ingredients into something extraordinary. Italian cuisine also celebrates cheese in many forms. Perhaps the most iconic is Parmigiano Reggiano, often called the king of cheeses. Produced in northern Italy using traditional methods that date back nearly 1,000 years, this rich and flavorful cheese is used in the pasta dishes, soups, and salads. No Italian meal would be complete without dessert. One of the country's most famous sweets is tiramisu. Made with layers of coffee-soaked biscuits, mascarpone dream, and cocoa powder. Tiramisu has become a famous dessert across the globe. Italy is also renowned for its wine culture. The country produced some of the worldwide finest wines, including those from the rolling vineyards of Tuscany and the historic wine regions of Piedmont. Wine is often enjoyed alongside meals, reflecting the Italian belief that food and drink should always be shared in good company. Beyond specific dishes, what truly defines Italian cuisine is the tradition of gathering around the table. Meals often last for hours, filled with conversation, laughter, and connection between family and friends. From the street of Naples to the countryside of Tuscany, Italian food tells a story of culture, history, and identity. It has traveled far beyond Italy's borders, becoming one of the most beloved cuisines in the world. Yet, in Italy itself, every meal remains a celebration of something deeper, the joy of life, with the warmth of family, and the timeless art of cooking with love. Venice, the city of canals. Floating gracefully on the waters of a lagoon, the enchanting city of Venice is unlikely any other place on earth. Built on more than 100 small islands connected by the bridges and canals, the Venice has fascinated travelers. By bridges and canals, Venice has fascinated the travelers for centuries with its beauty, history, and mysterious charm. Instead of streets filled with cars, Venice is defined by water. Boats glide through narrow canals, and the gentle sound of waves replaces the noise of traffic. The most famous waterway in the city is the magnificent Grand Canal. Shaped like a giant S, it winds through the heart of the Venice and is lined with centuries-old palaces that reflect the city's once enormous wealth. For hundreds of years, Venice was one of the most powerful trading centers in the world. During the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, the city served as the vital bridge between Europe and the past. Merchants from Venice traded spices, silk, and precious goods from distant lands, helping the city become incredibly prosperous. At the center of Venetian's life lies the stunning street market square, surrounded by elegant arcades and historic buildings. This grand square has long been the cultural and political heart of the city. Towering above the square is the magnificent street marked Basilica, famous for its golden mosaics and Byzantine architecture. Nearby stands the historic George Palace, one of the seats of power for the rulers of the Venetian Republic. The palace, with its delicate arches and pink-white marble facade, reflects the artistic brilliance and political importance that Venice once held. One of the most iconic symbols of the city is the traditional gondola. These elegant black boats have carried passengers through the canals for centuries. Skilled gondoliers guide the boats beneath stone bridges and past historic buildings, offering visitors a romantic way to experience the city. Venice is also famous for its annual celebration, the spectacular Venice Carnival. During this historic festival, the city transforms into a world of mass costume, music, and the celebration. The tradition dates back hundreds of years and continues to attract visitors from across the globe. Yet, Venice has faced unique challenges in the modern era. Because the city is built on water, it is increasingly threatened by rising sea levels and seasonal flooding known as aqualata. Large engineering projects have been developed to protect the city and preserve its extraordinary heritage. Despite these challenges, Venice remains one of the most magical destinations in the world. Its narrow alleys, quiet canals, and timeless architecture create an atmosphere that feels suspended between past and present. Walking through Venice often feels like stepping into a dream where every bridge, reveals a new view. Every canal tells a story, and every sunset reflects golden light across the water. For centuries, Venice has inspired artists, writers, and travelers, and even today, the city continues to captivate the imagination of all who arrive its shores. Conclusion: the timeless spirit of Italy. From ancient ruins to breathtaking coastlines, from world-famous art to unforgettable cuisine, Italy stands as one of the most remarkable countries on earth. Few places combine history, culture, beauty, and the passion in such a powerful way. Across its landscapes, the story of civilization unfolds. The ancient streets of Rome remind us of the greatness of the Roman Empire, whose influence shaped by law, language, architecture, and government across much of the modern world. The artistic genius of the Renaissance continues to inspire humanity through the masterpieces of legendary artists such as Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo, and Raphael. Beyond its history achievements, Italy remains a country deeply connected to everyday beauty. The canals of Venice, the rolling vineyards of Tuscany, and the dramatic coastline of Amalfi Coast continues to enchant millions of visitors each year. Yet the true heart of Italy lies not only in its landmark but also in its people. Italian culture celebrates family, friendship, art, music, and the simple joy of life. Whether sharing a meal around the table or enjoying a sunset in history piazza, everyday moments become meaningful experience. For centuries, travelers have journeyed to Italy seeking inspiration for beauty and discovery. And time after time, the country continues to deliver something unforgettable. Italy is more than just a destination, it is a living museum, a cultural treasure, and a timelessly symbol of human creativity. And far, those who visit, the spirit of Italy never truly leaves. It remains in memory, inviting them to return again and again. As our journey through Italy comes to an end, one thing becomes clear. Italy is more than just a city, a country. It is a timeless story written across landscapes, cities, and centuries of human history. From the ancient wonders of Rome to the romantic canals of Venice, every corner of Italy carries a piece of the past. The artistic brilliance of the Renaissance still lives in museums, churches, while the traditions of Italian food, family, and culture continue to shape everyday life. But perhaps the true beauty of Italy lies not only in its monuments, but also the way it makes people feel. Walking through ancient streets, sharing a meal in a small cafe, or watching the sunset over the Mediterranean Sea, these simple moments can become unforgettable memories. Italy invites travelers to slow down, to appreciate beauty, and to celebrate life. And once you experience it, Italy always leaves a mark on your heart. Thank you for joining this journey through one of the most extraordinary countries in the world.